All right, good morning, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Just as we've already jumped into practice, for the week, just kind of going back on Saturday night. Definitely was grateful for our crowd, the atmosphere there. Saturday was remarkable. No, hold on a second. This is good. No, wait. Go right ahead, sir.
Right in front of our shop, please. Thank you. Great. Sorry, Mike.
It's wonderful. It's great.
Two.
We're gonna keep rolling. Yeah. I already said. What? Do you want to restart? No, and that was good. Yeah. Well, once again, I appreciate our crowd. I appreciate our media contingent for just the great job that is being done here this morning of being where we're supposed. No, it was good, man. Saturday night was kind of a game that went the way we needed it to go. In some ways, we didn't play our best game, but it was a game where we had to respond to multiple different situations. We had some good plays on both sides of the ball. Defensively, essentially creating 4 takeaways with 2 fourth down stops, with the 2 turnovers that we were able to get. Offensively, had 100% ball security for the game. You saw. We were able to establish the run, but weren't as good in the passing game as what we'd like to be. You had some missed opportunities. Defensively, you were able to create a interception. You did some good things in the passing game. Had one kind of blown coverage, but running game. We didn't defend a run as well as what we're accustomed to. And as a team that attacked in a variety of ways, but as we got in the second half, our guys really settled in and got the job done. And I was proud of that and how they were able to finish the game. It was good to be able to get multiple guys in there in our last game at Doak Campbell for this season. But as you transition, short week, going to NC State Friday night. We came back. Coaches were in early yesterday. Starting game planning. Kind of wrapping up all corrections of what we needed from the game, and then we just started our preparation. We had a team meeting last night, did not practice. Gave the guys off other than just treatments and coming in and getting some work there. And then this morning, obviously just got our what would be our Tuesday practice. Some modifications when it comes to it. A little later in the season, you make sure we're doing what we need for our guys, their bodies. But I thought there was good speed today, and I liked what I saw.
Mike obviously got banged up, came back. Richie got banged up, didn't come back. Line-wise, how did the guys that fill in do for you, and also what's their expectations?
They did good. Rizzy's been a guy that has played throughout this year. Has started some games, but I thought he filled in well. And then when Otto got thrown into action, he showed he was ready. And I was pleased with what I saw there. He's a guy that. I've got big expectations for what he can be as we continue to move forward, and he's staying focused on his path, his journey, and really I think improving well as the season has gone about, and it just just one of those examples that you got to be ready for your number called. And we had a couple guys that went down just relatively close together in the game, and. It was good to be able to get a few of those guys back, but we'll see exactly where Richie is, throughout this week. I mean, it's, I think he's gonna have to push, and it's, he will do everything in his power to be ready to play. But when you have a short week, obviously losing that day, it makes it tough. But I do believe that regardless, Rizzy's a guy that will be ready to go, and then obviously they're just the versatility of what we have up front. Expect them to come and play at a high level.
Brendan. But I have a question. With some of the issues on the road this season, I guess, have you done some reflection on, is it preparation? Is there, I guess, what are some things you guys can work on to be cleaner?
Well, you look at all factors. I mean, any game, home, road, but when you see, obviously we've not played our best on the road, and I thought, Virginia, we played well offensively, did have the turnovers that hurt us, and played we played awful, and really Stanford and Clemson just with some missed opportunities, there on that side of the ball, and so you go and see what are the connecting things, is it things that that at the end of the day we can control, is things that that we faced in the moment, defensively, like I said, you look in the Virginia game as probably one of our worst performances, and Stanford had good moments, but we didn't start the way we wanted to start, and that's where we've got to be better. Clemson, they're kind of the same thing where there's just we've got to take control of the game early. We've got to be able to work to play from ahead if possible, and that's something that you look in just all things of how you sequence, because what it's been. In the past, it still comes down to this team. It still comes down to, whether it's years that we've been really, really good on the road, whether it's, years that we've not been. And, obviously this year we've not been good enough. And so, we are looking at every component to, what are the things that we need to fix to make sure that we're starting the game the way we want to start, that what are the things that we're doing to make sure that we, not distracted by any of the things that, can be distracting when you go on the road. And so, there are some modifications that we've kind of, implementing throughout this week, and, just continuing to push so that come, Friday night, on a short week, our best is going to show up.
When it comes to that, were there things during those games that you noticed, either or during those trips, that made you feel uneasy at all, or did it look like you were just at home?
There's always different dynamics you get to work through. A couple of trips that we had. You're sitting an hour and 15 minutes on a bus. Getting to a place. Is it do you look at how are you handling that travel? What is it? What's it look like? The amount of time that you try to keep it as close to possible as what you're doing here at home, and there's some natural just things that are going to be different, and it's that there's not just been one consistent thing that made me feel, oh well, this is where we got to change this immediately, but it still comes down to the results, and so that's why you go back, you look at it, where are the modifications, what are the things that you can tweak that is going to help best prepare this team, that that our best game shows up. I don't expect a perfect game. I've never seen one, but there is an expectation for best, and we've shown really good moments and on both sides of the ball, being able the ability to play and execute and do the things that are necessary. But collectively, we've not played complementary football on the road, and when we do that, I think we're a really good football team. And on the road, you got to have it's our energy, it's our focus, it's everything that we can do to dictate the game. That's coming from the sideline, and that's going to be a big focus for this week. Is that there's a hostile place to play. Non-Saturday game. All the stuff. 8 o'clock kickoff, later kickoff. All of it, right? But when we run out of that tunnel, right, and we give 60 minutes on the clock, the guys on that sideline, coaches, staff, players, we all responsible for what the outcome's going to be. So we need to go and make sure that every bit of our energy, our discipline, our execution, that it shows up.
Brenda? With Tommy, it seemed like some of his rushing production was sharper this past game, that was more explosive. Is he starting to feel a little bit better?
Yeah, I think with each week that goes by, he's definitely feeling good. His body. It's part of the toll that you take through a season. Times that you have small bumps, bruises, and things that can kind of hinder just to where you say your body's feeling best. But he's definitely I thought he ran strong. You had some some of the game-changing plays there in the second half with his feet that were huge, and I was really pleased to see him kind of take control and play fast when it came to that.
Bob, I wanted to ask you about the secondary in general, but also just seeing the depth chart with Jabril not listed. What's his status? How did Shamar perform on that?
Jabril's going to actually be out for the rest of the year, and unfortunately. That's he's had a really good season up to this point. And a guy that I'm excited about, what's ahead, but, you just unfortunately, will be out. But with that, I thought, Shamar, going in and, getting, another start, for him, was something that, his preparation, his work, I mean, the competitiveness that he has, I mean, I thought that showed up well. Still some things that, he's going to get to grow through with every rep. And, when you're out there, especially at that position as a true freshman, that's a lot on him. And, but I do think that he's got the right mindset. I do think he's very capable, but, he's going to grow up right there in front of our eyes. And, this week is, really good challenge for us. This is an offense that, throughout the season, has been one of the best in the league. Obviously they're coming off a game that was very uncharacteristic of how they've played, but we know that they're extremely capable. And as you see, our secondary, I mean, we know this is a group that has talent and ability, that they're growing, with each game, and just the confidence of what they're doing, whether it's man, zone. I do think some real positive things are showing up, but I'm excited to watch Shamar continue to take advantage of the opportunity that he has.
Leah, you talked about Reese a couple of times last week and his production maybe getting a little bit more of a workload here at the end. I think he got the most carries for you guys on Saturday. Just what did you see from him, and where can he still go with 2 games left?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much area for improvement from him, but you see the talent, the strength. Just he's a tough guy to tackle. Continuing to be confident in the open field of being able to make that last guy miss. He's had a few that are just right there at it. He's done a great job of forcing missed tackles. He's growing in his protection. He's one of the most physical players we have on this team. He's come in with an absolute right mindset when it comes to that. But now it's being able to apply that with with his eyes and technique and fundamentals. But I'm pleased with what I'm seeing from him. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to continue to grow with every carry he gets. But I was pleased with the production that he had last week.
Ira?
NC State, obviously they've had some ups and downs too, but offensively, they've put up a lot of points. They've had some big games. What challenges do you present?
I mean, they're really such a balanced attack. I mean, they've run the ball at a very high level. They've got a couple of really explosive backs. The quarterback, you got a lot of respect for. I mean, I think he can locate the ball all across the field, push it vertical. If things break down, his escapability and being able to extend plays, is definitely something that we have to be aware of and try to contain. You've got some guys at tight end and receiver that, you got to go cover. I mean, they're talented. They're big. The guys that can play. The guys that move for them in the slot. They can create separation. So, like I said, I mean, this is a team that they put points on good people, and they've definitely showed the ability to be one of the best offenses in this league. And it's going to present a great challenge for us, and just being able to defend all the things that they do, because like I said, they can do it both in the air and on the ground.
Corey, there was a play in the Clemson game where it didn't seem like Jerry maybe was as physical as you would have liked, and you told him about it. Did you see that made something flip because he made that great play really early in that game?
No, I was pleased. I mean, that was Jerry had a couple plays there in that Clemson game that were not to his to the expectation and his standard. And sometimes you can get yourself where you if hesitation shows up because you don't want to miss a tackle, or you don't want to put yourself in the wrong position, and if that hesitation shows up, I mean, there's bad. It's going to look really bad. And in that game, we got him out in that moment, and I did try to bring that focus back to the importance of just cutting it loose and going to play. And this last week in practice, that was my entire message to him. And Jerry is he's a great competitor. He's somebody that loves this team, loves being a part of what we're doing. And I was really pleased with him to see him, because it's easy to sit there and point to the interception on the first drive, but seeing some of the physicality plays where he just just went and made it, and he was right where he needed to be, threw his body around, and that was that was more like the guy I know. And, we're all capable. I mean, we're capable on both ends, but, he definitely responded the way that I wanted to see. And, I just told, with him this morning, I'm like, now it's take another step here this week because we need him to play big.
Brendan, on Mandrell's sack, the forced fumble, does he have like the ability to go to either gap when he's locked up with his, and is that just him making a heads up play?
No, I mean, there's different, different calls defensively that will provide some flexibility where guys can, two gap and be able to work, either direction, playing off of that with different pass rush, moves or, just to have some of that flexibility. And, Mandrell's a guy that, is extremely explosive, obviously, very strong in what he does, but, you're seeing him grow up, week by week. I think he's got, 4 straight games with a sack or something like that. And, he's playing with great, effort, great physicality in that, but, he's just, the efficiency of his movements, and just his confidence in what he can do is really, ascending, throughout this year. And so, I think he's probably playing as good as any freshman D lineman in the country, for what I see, and probably as good as, any freshman that, might be out there. I mean, he's done a really, really good job. And so, but I'm excited for his continued growth. I mean, he's going to just continue to get better.
Corey. Jalen had 2 kick returns in that game. That has not been a part of this, the team much this year. Was that a concerted effort, like, go return this?
Well, I mean, yeah, you try to go into each game, and you got to play. You want to play smart. You want to put your team, your guys in the best position, and we really just haven't had many opportunities, when it comes to the return game. But we got kicks that were in that range of where we wanted to be aggressive in the return, and I thought our guys did a really nice job being able to give them a seam, and we were extremely close to be able to take both of them back. But those are two spark plays, and as I know I mentioned it after the game, but when you see each phase rising to the challenge of what's needed, I thought Jalen and that KOR team did a great job of being able to provide a spark there in that second half, and it was huge.
This team's been through a lot, over the course of the season. Playing, I thought maybe your best game in a long time Saturday, and then these last 2 of the last 3, like, do you see anything in terms of just confidence, the way they've come through this, and does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, yes, we have been through a lot. A good, nice observation. It's been, and it's hard. It's when you see capability and then you have disappointing, performances and disappointing results. It really, it tests you, and it tests who you are. I mean, I think I might have said this at post game, but one of the things I told the guys in pregame, the other day is that adversity introduces a man to himself, and introduces a team to themselves, and what they are, what they're about, and it's about just that consistent and focused effort for growth, for response, for just being able to get yourself up when things haven't gone the way you want them to go, and push forward with all that you are. And I believe in this team. I love coaching this team. I think it's a group of incredible young men that you have the right want to desire. Guys that, are sacrificing, sometimes with how they feel, just to go and pour in and give all. And that's, I respect that. And, you see it showing up in the course of games. I mean, there's been guys that have battled, playing, probably not 100%, but, everything that they could do for this team. I mean, I respect. And, you see it in the way that they practice. I know I mentioned that there last week. I've got confidence in what's going to show up. I've got confidence in the work that I'm seeing. We got to go get it done, and that's still, when it comes down to it, you do all those things to be able to step on the field and in the moment of truth, and you go put it on display. And I believe in this team, and I believe in what they'll do, and definitely believe in how they'll finish.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Coach.
I think, guys.
We'll have Jalen, Lucas, and Mandrell this year.